have to be around people who recognize the greatness in you versus sex. And I'm going to free all the women on the panel and all the women who are listening. All men want sex. It's a natural biological right for men to want that. It's as simple as breathing. All men want to breathe. All men want to eat. All men want to sleep. And all men want to have some form of intimacy. You see what I'm saying? So, women, I want you to get that out of your mind. Yes, they're coming for the sex. However, what else are they staying for? Are they staying for the compassion? Are they staying for the wisdom? Are they staying for the caring? Are they staying for the nurturing? You see what I'm saying? Are they staying for the motivation? Those are the things and the other skills that you have to develop to make sure that you don't rely on beauty and you don't rely on sex. It's the same speech I give to the fellas. Don't rely on your money. You need to develop other skills as a man, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that you're more than what you make. Because people can take away your job, but at the same time, they can't take away your intellect. They can't take away your wisdom. They can't take away your leadership. You see what I'm saying? They can't take away your network. They can take away a whole lot of other stuff, but you can't rely on money and sex. You are more than an ATM. You are more than a sexual object. You see what I'm saying? That's for the men. So my thing is this to other people. I want you to stretch your mind and become more than what you feel like you only have to offer. So women, you are more than sex. Remember that. So develop your other skills. And that's it, humble dad. That's all I got to say about that.
Taking on you, then prototype. We got you.
So what Pookie said is that he doesn't agree with the women changing, because I agree partly with what Ash was saying, but the other part of it is she will only change if she sees the benefit in the change, right? So is the results, it have to tie together. If the changes you're asking her to make is only going to benefit you, then more than likely that's not going to stick. But if the changes that you're asking her to make is also going to better her and she sees the results of that, she's going to be willing to change and that stick. And I'm speaking from personal experience. Like when I first met my husband, I was 18 when we met. So very, that young energy, like you ain't gonna tell me, like that kind of stuff. Like you met me, you knew I liked to club. You like the way that I dressed when you met me. I'm not trying to switch none of that up now. Like, what you got, like that kind of mindset and attitude. But because he was offering more than just like what you were saying, just wanting my body, there was another level of him that I wanted to keep. And so because I wanted to keep that, I was willing to make those adjustments. It didn't happen like overnight. It didn't. But it did slowly happen because I saw when I did the way that he was with me. You know what I'm saying? And so it made it easier to make certain changes and then maintain those changes because in the end, it benefited me. I saw the different approach of the way people begin to approach me. Men step into me where I wasn't afraid because before it was more like mad aggressive, like, I don't care, you got a man, like that kind of stuff, because I was put in that, I guess, by what I had on and the way I could carry myself, being in a club dressed like that, I was sending a message that I was available. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, nah, I'm good. A no wasn't an answer, but I noticed just even though I found a way to be a little classier sexy as opposed to slutty sexy. When you're 18, you got it. You know what I mean? But as I got older, it was more along the lines of understanding what kind of attention are you drawing, which is what he was trying to say to begin with. Yes, you drew me in, but that's the point. You got me. I don't want you drawing other people in. Like we're good. So as I begin to see different things, changes that he asked me to make, if it didn't sit right with me initially, I was at least open to see. And if it if I saw the benefit in it, then I continued. If I didn't, it was like, okay, how is this impacting? Is it going to be detrimental to me or him or our relationship? Because sometimes men have preferences, which I think is totally different. If their preference isn't necessarily in line with what I say who I am, like I'm a very social person. That's my personality. And if he would say, I don't like you talking to people. So that's a personal preference. I'm not going to be able to change who I am in that regard. I'm not going to stop talking to people, but I will be mindful of maybe the type of conversation I might have with people. You know what I'm saying? Things like that, finding that balance. But if so, to reiterate, the biggest thing is a woman will change for the man that she wants, especially if she sees the benefit in that change in terms of how it will also benefit her.
Prototype, what you got on it?
So the question is, can women change? Right? That's
Yes.
the question.
Well, Pookie is saying that he doesn't think that women change authentically. Could I put it like that?
Yeah.
Pookie?
I agree, and I I agree with Ash too. Like they'll put it on the front, and then after they got what they want out of you, you know what I'm saying, then they'll revert back. I've never thought that people can change. So even when I was younger and I was picking women to date, I was making sure that I was picking them small enough to not go over the weight limit. You know what I'm saying? Like they couldn't go over the weight limit if they wanted to. You know what I'm saying? I was always looking at the mom to see how the mom developed. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to tell me the future. Um, what kind of family they came from. That's why all that stuff is important. You know what I mean? Because I generally don't think people change. You know what I'm saying? There's no way somebody could be um, promiscuous and then not be promiscuous in nature. You know what I'm saying?
I know people. I know women. Like I know.
Well,
Their
well,
husband don't
you gotta.
know.
I think it's.
Their
I think it's
husband
a thing
don't
of.
know.
I
But
think that's a thing of declining. You know what I'm saying? It's think of it as an athlete that can't play ball no more. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not good enough anymore. That's what that's that change. It's forced. You know what I'm saying? But if that person can still play ball until they die, they would, you know what I'm saying, at a high level. But you can't play at that level no more. You know what I'm saying? You start declining. You can't move like you want to.
I
So
disagree. Look at would you
that's
say
okay.
the same
That's
no,
okay.
the reason I'm saying that is would you say you're the same person that you were
Yes,
20 years ago?
absolutely.
I don't believe that. And I'm looking at Pookie. He said I just had enough, so there were changes that I know I needed to make. Right. I think most people get to a point
That's a
where,
forced change, though. It's a forced change that he made because he
but
kept.
but it's a choice though. That's not forced when
It's
you're
not.
choosing.
It's not a choice. It's a force because he's not getting results. He's not getting results, so it's a force. But if he could get the results he wanted and still be the same, still live the same way, then he would have never changed. He's changing because he can't get the results. So like the women that used to be XYZ, they understand like I got abused too much, or you know what I'm saying, oh, they're really not liking me, they're really abusing me, or behind their back, they're running trains with me, or like you know what I'm saying? Like they don't really like me. They're sharing me with their homeboys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it takes them a while, but when they get it, they get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And they be like, oh, well, I don't want to be, I'm gonna go find Jesus. And then
So
we
when
can
you say
Hold
forced,
on.
I guess I
You
guess my
know what?
opinion of what
Are you saying the
I
train
guess
destination was Jesus?
I,
Wow. Wow. That's crazy.
I guess I guess my question is defining the difference between a forced change and an unforced change because based on what you're saying, typically that's what makes people change. Like we were talking earlier about failure, right? Sometimes you get in situations, you fail, and then that forces you to change or come up with a different plan or what have you. And I think those are things that occur that that begin to shape and mold and make you who you are. So when you say forced change, I was thinking along the lines of you're saying somebody else telling you you need to change this, but that's really not.
no, I'm saying I can't when
So
you
you
see a
think
young hooper,
circumstances of
when Michael Jordan came into the league, he's jumping from the free throw line, right? Dunking from 30, 30 feet or wherever, however, and then like as he aged, that jumper got a little sweeter. You know what I'm saying? You start shooting them a
That's
lot
that
more
fadeaway. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you start getting a fadeaway. You know what I'm saying? You ain't trying to ram on boys no more because you just don't have the ups no more. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the forced change. Like if you want to keep playing, then you got to change how you do it. So a lot of women, what I mean, they start out young rambunctious, like, oh, I could just get them with my beauty. And then, oh, that's not working because I got a few more wrinkles, the cellulite popping up. I
Correct.
can't control this belly weight. The hips is a little bit too wide. Like, you know what I'm saying? So now they start playing. Well, I gotta
I
learn a
don't have
little
the same
something.
options that I had.
Well, they don't got the
Correct.
same options, but if I want to be valuable, I gotta learn how to what do they want? Okay, now
That's what I'm
they
saying
like
to
this
your
kind of
point.
meal.
That's what I'm saying to your point, Prototype, that you're saying that people change because how they were going, it didn't warrant them or get them what it is that they wanted to reciprocate. That's what you're saying, right? Is that what you're saying, right, Prototype?
I'm saying people change because they can't get the results.
That's exactly what
I mean, but
how did I
because
say
you're
it
saying
different
where they
than
were
you,
going
Prototype?
as if like you're saying where they were going. I'm just taking you out of maybe I'm just not understanding how you said that.
No,
Let
I
me
said
help you out.
exactly what you said. I said the reason why people change, like you said with Pookie, the reason why he changed is because how he was going about trying to get a wife, so to speak, it was not it wasn't giving him the results that he wanted. So then therefore he took an act of celibacy to see what he needed to do differently. And what he's doing now for the next couple of years is that he's taking a look at himself to see what he needs to change because what he was doing before wasn't working.
Right.
But I let's go with the point that you're making, that it's a forced change, right? A forced change is also known as a pivot, right? That means that you can't go one way, but this other way will be more beneficial to you. So having a forced change is not bad, right? So if somebody was to say, well, you was forced to change, okay, cool. I was forced to change. That's cool with me. Like for me, if I did not receive Christ, I would this would not be a Humble Dad podcast.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Is what I'm saying to you, right? And so it was a necessary change for me and my character and my integrity and how I viewed individual people.
Y'all
I
showing
have to
out.
tell you, I was a man. I talked to these people crazy. Okay,
Y'all showing out,
I have
bro.
And
You,
that's why
you still want to though. You still want to.
correct.
Still, yes. So
Yeah.
you didn't change in your, what I mean? That's why we fight daily, right? You got to
Yeah.
deny yourself daily because you
Right.
still want to do what you want to do. But now
Yeah.
that you're a believer and you're like, dang, I can't.
Yeah, and I'm saying that's a beneficial forced change, is what I'm saying. Like it's
Mm.
good. It was good that I did make that change because it allowed me to pay attention to people. It allowed me to hear people and be able to respond. Like me and you probably wouldn't even be having this conversation if I was who I was before, because I wasn't mature enough to handle it. You know what I'm saying? Now I can say, okay, even though I may disagree with Prototype, I can hear what he's saying and be able to receive the message. Pookie, did you want to say something, or was it a mistake?
I wanted to add something.
Prototype to explain what would be an unforced change. Like I guess because I'm thinking just in general, when people change, is usually, I guess based on his definition, is usually it's a forced change. You come in opposition of something, right? Or something occurs that, like you said, Humble Dad, makes you pivot. So what would be an example of a change that occurs that
That's
doesn't
not force.
require
That
Yeah,
didn't that
it's not
that didn't
forced.
force you. I don't know because people only. I don't think people change. I'll let Loss answer that.
I got you, man. An unforced change is when you grow as a man. You know what I'm saying? And what happens is once you realize that what you've been doing doesn't work, as a man, sometimes you have to change up what's in your toolbox. I can see it right now where Pookie has had this wrench and he used this wrench to get all the women that he wants, and he keeps turning that wrench. But what happens is that wrench only attracts a certain type of woman. So guess what? He has to go back into the toolbox and pull out a different type of tool, a hammer. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, look, this hammer is going to get me where I need to go to a little bit quicker. But at the same time, I got to find a nail that
Sometimes
wants to
y'all
be
need to
hammered.
I
change
feel like
the
you could have
euphemism
used
that
better.
y'all
You know what I'm
use.
saying?
I feel like you could have used a different tool there. The hammer.
I'm
was
just
kinda-
saying. I'm just saying.
It still
In other words, what you've been using has been giving you the results that you've been getting because that's who you were at that time. Now, as you grow as a man, you want something different. So he's like, I got to change up. I got to stop what I'm doing. I got to figure out what type of tool I need to use to get the type of woman that I need for the journey that I'm going to.
So
And I think a lot of men a lot of men reach that point at a certain point in life where they say, you know what, that was fine, hanging out with all the women or whatever. But if I want to have kids and I want to make sure they're in a stable environment, I can't go get a wife from the strip club. I might want to shop over here at the church because that's going to line up to where I need to go a little bit better than versus, OnlyFans or strip club or whatever.
so okay. So what I initially said was that you deal with women and they make a change to initially be with you. And what Ash said is what I've seen more, where they will do that for a couple years and then they'll go right back to Tatiana. So here's what I'm looking at from this conversation. Are we just saying that a change gonna happen no matter how it happens? What we're talking about, is it authentic or is it cap?
Correct.
You need to try to figure out who's pulling the cap on you, right? Is that what you're looking for? I kind of figured that's what it is.
That's what Mistaken was trying to get you to see from a woman's perspective. If that woman sees the value in it, that change is going to stick with her.
Well, it's
Right.
like what we
But
talked about last week, about
Sure. Hold on real quick. And if it is something that she's just changing so that you could be there and be in her life for them, then it's not going to stick. You know what I'm saying? So you will see the cap in how she responds. But to go to prototype statement, though, I would definitely disagree. People change. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's forced or not, people change. But I understand the position that you're talking about. The position that you're talking about is that people will continue to do the same old thing, thinking they're going to get different results. Hence what Mistaken was talking about earlier, saying that people just want to have a conversation, but they don't really want to change their perspective. So you're right in that aspect, right? That people don't want to change. I'll give you that part. However, they're going to have to change, right? Because, for example, in our Black community, women are single. Men are single, but women are having to, as Ash said, they want to open up their legs because they think that's how they're gonna get the guy. That's also how they think they're gonna keep the guy, right? And so you have them changing really what the nature of a woman is anyway. So women have